Now, let's see what we can do with the letter C, shall we? Starting with your 2-pencil tool. The capital C, of course, is primarily one big, comfortable curve, and then just a little bit of a hook at the very top of that curve. Make sure that that hook or that stem is parallel to the italic guidelines, right? That's very important. Let me do that again. One large curve, and then a hook or a bit of a stem up here. I want you to notice that on the example, there's just a tiny bit of that stem appears over there, but it's not a serif. It's not this. Do you understand? Make sure you get that right. Now, the bottom part of the curve kicks out just a little bit further than the stem. You see, if this stem extended straight down like this, do you see that? If you continue that line, then the bottom of the curve would kick out just a little bit past that. That makes sense? So I'm going to draw one more time, and then we'll go on to the felt tip pen. This time I'm starting with the stem, perfectly legal if you want, and then the big curve, and many times you won't be able to push a pen up that angle, so you'll want to start another curve and come down this way. Do you remember the rule is, the general rule of thumb is you always draw your pen, you never push it, but the actual reality is if you can get away with pushing it, if it functions and works well, you're fine. In other words, cheat if you don't get caught. Got it? Let's do the lowercase then. The lowercase c is actually quite a bit different shape than the capital in this case, and that is that it has a straight or almost straight flag along the top, and then begins a curve, and again, the tail end of that curve kicks out just a little bit past the end of the flag. Let me do it again. This time, instead of pushing that flag, I'm going to do it technically correctly. I'm going to pull it. There we go. And then draw the curve. And the tail of it should kick out just a tiny, tiny bit past that. Ready? Good enough? Let's go to the felt tip pen. Get smaller. You'll be discovering as you do these letters that the double pencil technique is actually the easiest. It gets more difficult as you get smaller. Let's do a capital C now. One big friendly curve, a bit of a stem there, and let's make sure that the bottom of the curve kicks out just a tiny bit past that. I think that'll do. Let me do it the other way now, this time where I don't push the pen at all, but I pull every single stroke. I'm going to start here and pull it this way, and then pull this down like this, and then pull this curve that way. Do you understand the difference? The first time I pushed the pen a couple of times. This last time I did it, if you will, technically correctly, the way calligraphy is supposed to be done. Do you understand? Us teachers, we tell you one thing, but then sometimes we cheat a little and do slightly different. So I'm just letting you in on that little bit of cheat. Now let's do the lowercase c. I'm going to pull that flag at the top, a friendly curve, coming up just ever so slightly past it. Let me do it the other way this time. I'm going to push that flag and then do a curve and come down there. Got it? I think that's good enough. Now let's go to the bad boy of the calligraphy world, the dip pen. The one that gives you fits. A little bit more difficult to operate, but well worth the effort when you can master it. First of all, we have some kind of paper up there so we can make sure that the pen is functioning just the way we want it to. And then we'll begin the letter C. Let me, come on, pen, you can do this. Let me dip it in water, shake it out, and see if it'll work now. It's working even worse. I would like you to know that everything you're seeing me do here is perfectly typical of the world of calligraphy. So when it happens to you, don't feel like you're doing something desperately wrong. Now, these are the parts that the pros don't have the nerve to show you when things don't work out right. So let's do that capital C, and I am going to do it the right way, drawing each stroke, pulling, that is, pulling each stroke rather than pushing any of them. And the second curve here at the top, and a little bit of a flag, and then make sure that the end of the curve comes out just a little bit beyond that. That's a pretty good C if I say so myself. Now, I'm going to try to do it the other way, where I push the pen and do the curve all with one stroke. See there? I really got away with it that time. It worked fine. It has to do with the mood that your pen is in and the kind of paper that you're working on. Let me do one more capital C, and then we'll go to the lowercase and be done with the letter C. There you go. See, that is not acceptable right there. So you go, I better try that again. That's the way it goes when you're doing calligraphy. Now, let me do the lowercase c. I'm going to draw the flag, that is pull the pen instead of push it, and then do the nice little friendly curve coming up just a little bit beyond that. That's one way. Now, let me try the other way, where I actually push the pen. If I can get away with it, that's fine. If I can't, I'll have to do it the right way. Not bad. I would actually come back this time and pull it a little bit, and that's good enough. I hope you're understanding that the difference. There's a technically correct way to do it, which is you always draw, never push the pen, but there's an actual way that the professionals do it, and that is, if you can get away with pushing it, go for it. That's the letter C. You're doing great. Let's keep it.